Hey guys, welcome back to Stationary Muse channel. My name is Tatiana and I am the owner of the Stationary Muse, and I love to inspire women like you to go after what you want in your life, and doing that through your business, your personal life, your relationships. All of those things are just so important and what make us who we are. And today's video is going to be giving you some tips on how to set intention and positivity for having a better life. So if that's something you're interested in, I think that all women can definitely use this message right now, whether it is in this current season or the seasons to come. So definitely stay tuned. All right, guys, so the topic of this video really came about for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, as the time of me filming this video, there is a lot going on in this world right now, and I am not speaking, and I'm not a negative person, especially not on this channel. I try not to be, so I'm not even going to get into it. But what I will say is there's just a lot of uncertainty right now and a lot of fear for many of us. And so first thing, I definitely have worked on that within myself in this last week and have kind of gotten to like a new mindset. And so I wanted to pass that off to you guys. And so what I ended up doing for myself is I really thought about, okay, how can I use this time of, where I could look at it as a negative thing to really help myself, to better who I am for my family, for my business, all of the above. What can I do to just be a better woman in general? So what I really love about this situation is that there is just a lot more time for all of us, especially like for myself right now. Like my husband is now home, so I usually am home with my daughter every day, so now he's home, so he's kind of here to help kind of divide up the responsibilities, which is so helpful. In addition to the fact that my job that I do from home has slowed down quite a bit in the last 2 weeks, and so I have all of this extra time on my hands that I normally don't have. And I really have just been sitting with my own thoughts and really thinking about, like, what are the things I'm just not pleased with? What are the things that make me feel guilty? What are the things that I'm always just like, man, I wish I would do that, or I wanted to start that, but there's just all of this stuff going on. I'm overwhelmed, or, there's just a lot going on. I'm busy. There's always that excuse. And so this has basically paused a lot of our excuses of busy and excuses of overwhelm. And it's almost kind of giving permission to be intentional and really do some things differently that we've been saying we gonna do, but yet we just kind of just let it go by the wayside. And so what I'm basically saying is that I have these 5 tips that I put together to help you guys with just getting more intentional with your life and fueling positivity into that. And I'm going to tell you how I did that for myself and what that looks like. So basically, I'm going to just get into the tips and then we'll get started, because I can definitely ramble and chat. So I'm going to just get into it. So tip number 1 is to address the areas in your life that need improvement. So this, for me, I had about 5 areas that I needed to really work on that were bothering me, that I constantly thought about. And so those were the areas that I focused on. I did my health, I did spirituality, I did my relationship with my husband, family and friends relationship, and my business. Those were the 5 that I wanted to focus on. Each of those was just something kind of in the back of my head where I either kept putting it off, making excuses, or just above all, really having to kind of take a back seat because of just the regular hustle and bustle of life. That's just how it goes. And so I went ahead and I wrote down those different areas of my life. And so for you, you may not have 5, you may have more than 5, you may have less than 5. Whatever the case, think about what is the stuff that maybe you wrote down on your resolutions or you put on your vision board that in reality, when you think about it, you're like, oh, I probably would never have time to get to this. What are those things? And obviously they're important to you. It's something you may think about all the time. It just kind of like sits in the back of your mind. At the end of the day, you're like, oh, I forgot to call so-and-so. Or I really wanted to get started on that thing, but oh, I'm just so tired, like I know you guys feel what I'm saying. There are so many of us that at the end of the day, like for me, at the end of every week, I'm always like, man, I really wanted to read the Bible this week. And then I look up and I'm like, it's a new week. And so all of these different things where we know that we can make the time for it, but we just kind of let life be the excuse, which in some cases, I get it. But I think, like I said, this is like giving us a reset button. It's kind of allowing us to actually make this happen. So step number 2, once you have the actual categories or whatever you want to call it, figured out the different areas, step number 2 is actually writing down those actions. What are the actions? Figuring them out. So what I mean by that is pretty straightforward. It's a to-do, it's a task. What is the actual thing you can do once you've written it down? Health was one of my biggest ones that I wanted to start working on. I've been saying I want to get more active, and I did. I was actually doing really well, and then I actually had my very first panic attack ever at the end of January, and it pretty much shook me to the point where I no longer wanted to be active. I no longer wanted to really do anything outside of just get up and do the bare minimum of life, because I just was freaked out. I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty real with you guys on here. And so it kind of stopped me from like the momentum that I was building of like being active every day. And so I knew that was something that it's been in the back of my head since I stopped. And I'm like, I really want to get back started with that. It's something important to me. I want to take care of myself. Like I'm so needing to do this. And so if there's something like that maybe with you that happened where you were on a good path and then you kind of stopped for a specific reason. So what I wrote down is I wrote down the area, of course, I wanted to get more active. And then I put as a goal or like a why, like I'm so big on always having a reason of why I'm doing something. So if I'm ever feeling like, what is the point of this? I have that why to fall back on. And so I want to get my heart rate pumping for at least 20 or more minutes a day so that I can keep up with my daughter. And so that is my why, that's my goal. And so then the action was for me to actually set a plan in my calendar with links to the workout. So I have no excuse. I get a calendar reminder. I already know what I'm going to be doing for my workout, and then I just get to it. So if you're like me and you're wanting to do that, make it a no excuse proof type of action so that you're setting yourself up for success. You're not just saying like, okay, I'm going to research the stuff, or I'm going to look into a diet I want to try, or I'm going to try out a new workout plan. Actually make an action that's going to set the intention behind it. And so step number 3 is to actually set the intention. And what I love about this step is it's really taking the just typical to-do list or the typical actions that you normally would take. It takes them a step further. So when you set the intention, it takes out that whole, I wish I had time to do that, or, oh, I meant to get to that today, because you have already made it up in your mind that it's something you're going to do. So for me, setting the intention is actually now putting it in my calendar. So I made an actual calendar thing. It says yoga time on there with a little exclamation point, Monday through Friday, 7 to 7:30 a.m. And I put the link to the workout in there for myself. And that is my reminder to be like, okay, it's time for you to go ahead and work out. And I'm going to make that a habit. It's something I'm doing every day. And that's also another thing. This is a great time to work on new habits and new things you've been wanting to try. Like, what better time than the present to start working on those new things that you want to make yourself a better woman? I think this is just like the perfect time. Okay. And so also, in addition to setting the intention, another example I can give you guys. So another part of my health journey as well is just that I have been dealing with all this additional anxiety, and I have a lot of different things lined up that I'm going to do to help myself with that. But one of the things I wanted to do was just kind of fill my day regularly with positive things, if that makes any sense. So I found like some different apps and stuff that I downloaded that are very catered towards like people that are anxious or just needing to kind of get out of like a negative headspace, or just when you have a lot of stuff on your mind and it's just something to kind of just break your concentration. So what I did was I got some different apps and stuff. I have them on my phone, and I have that intention there. They're like right on the home page of my phone. So then that way I can get on, and instead of being distracted by Instagram, I put one of those apps in place of Instagram. So I've set that intention where I normally just kind of have like muscle memory to know exactly where Instagram is or YouTube is, which are like my two top apps that I go on. I have put meditation apps there, and I have put an anxiety app there. So if there's something like that for you, maybe if you're trying to drink more water, or maybe you're trying to really start this business of yours but you keep putting it off, put a Google Docs tab like where Instagram is for you or something, because you know, like maybe you're working on your business idea in Google Docs, if that makes any sense. You really want to think about what you can do to actually make the stuff happen. It's one thing to write those actions down, but taking it a step further and bringing it into your everyday life is really going to be the way to make this stuff happen. Put it in front of your face to make the change. So whatever you've been doing, obviously that was not working before, and I'm saying that to myself and you guys as well. So, trying some different things, putting it right in your face where you see it on your phone. Most of us have our phones with us most of the day, so it's a great way to do that. Same with alarms. Put an alarm on your phone, just like your regular clock app, that reminds you to do something that you really need to get started on. If you need to take 30 minutes to write out your business plan or start researching your business, so big on business, you guys know that. Okay, so step number 4 is to fuel with positivity. So this to me is one of the most important steps, and I think that this one really will look different for a lot of us depending on what you need. And so if you are in a season right now of uncertainty or fear, I think definitely setting up some kind of like motivational thing for yourself to help you through this time is very helpful. Or even if you're just unsure of maybe what you are currently pursuing, something to kind of keep you motivated. So maybe if there is like a playlist of videos on YouTube that you make, and they all are catered towards, okay, these people are motivating me to start a business. I'm nervous to start the business, but I really would love to start changing my mindset. Let me make a playlist of videos that I can click on when I just want to get a little bit of motivation or encouragement to get started. Or I really would love to, see what's another one. I really would love to start reading the Bible. I'm not quite ready to take the leap yet of actually diving into a Bible study plan, but you know what? Let me get one of those devotional apps, and then that way it can pop up on my phone every morning or when I want it to, and it'll come up right there, and then I can read it. So if you created, for example, a calendar invite, I'm loving calendar invites, you guys, and you title it whatever you want it to be. You could just say motivation, you got this, whatever you want to call it. And then within that, you invite yourself to this thing every day or however often you do it. And you can have that link to those playlists of those videos, or you could have a link to some devotionals or a link to whatever it is that you want to do. And it'll pop up on your phone, and you can be talking to yourself in that title of that calendar invite that just says like, hey, you need to go work out. It could say that. And so I think that that is something that is just so intentional, but it's also very positive. And so the same thing can apply for like an alarm. So for me, the way that I am fueling myself with some positivity is I mentioned to you guys that I am dealing with a little bit more anxiety than I would like to be right now. And so what I've done is I've kind of really paid attention to throughout the day when I'm really feeling the most anxious. And sometimes it varies, it just kind of depends. But I have put a couple alarms on my phone that just have some different messages on them. One in particular that stuck out to me is because I saw it this morning, and it just basically says, it's okay, today is going to be a good day. And that message is very encouraging to me. Even though I said it for myself, it's just something about seeing it kind of pop up on my phone. When you're in the middle of doing everything you're doing, you kind of forget that that's happening or that that's coming up. And then when it pops up on my phone, I'm just like, okay. You know, it's just a nice reminder, and I encourage you guys to do the same thing. If there's a quote or something, same thing, have it pop up on your phone, do the calendar thing, or even put it on, just put something on your phone wallpaper that every time you turn on your phone, you see that quote or you see that scripture, you see that message that just allows you to take a moment to be like, okay, I got this, I can do this. And that is all about having a positive life. putting those affirmations where you can see them. They always like get your Mary Jane on, put the little sticky notes on the mirror, whatever things can help you to just get you to a point in your life where you are fueled with positivity so that you are unshakable when it comes to any negative thing that is surrounding you. And that is really what I'm in. I'm all right now about armoring myself up so that I don't allow any of these outside forces and outside things to allow me to step out of who I want to be, who I'm trying to be, and who I am. So I hope that makes sense. And so then step number 5 is to create time for self. And y'all know I'm big on it. My last Live, Love, Inspire box was called Self-Indulge, because I am so big on self. And I don't care what anybody says. It is what it is. And I am 100% with that. So before I got married, before I had a daughter, all that stuff, I always knew, and I would always tell myself, like, okay, I don't want to get lost in my marriage. I don't want to get lost in being a mom. I always want to make sure I have my own things going on. And I don't think that's selfish at all. If anything, I feel like it is needed in order for me to be the best woman that I can be for all of the different hats that I wear. I need to have my own stuff going on. And that is just me personally. Everybody is so different. But I also just find that even if you don't have your own business going on or your own whatever, just having that time for yourself is so important. And one of the things on my list that I put for my intentions, I had spirituality, but then I also put personal growth. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to really incorporate a better morning routine, because my mornings are for me, y'all. Okay, so I really worked hard at the last couple months of the year to start creating a habit of getting up between 5 and 5:30 in the morning every day. And I do that pretty effortlessly now. It took me a while to get there because I really do not like getting up early, but it's definitely something that I had to work on. But now I found that I was just kind of like getting up, and then I would just be like, okay, maybe I'll work on this. Maybe I'll watch some videos. And then I would look up and it's like time for my daughter to get up. And I would have wasted like my 2 hours or whatever, and then feel guilty, like, well, what did I even accomplish? And I got sick of feeling like that. So I'm like, well, why don't I make my morning more intentional? It's already a time for me. So let me fill that with things that are only going to make my day better. And so now I created my calendar invite, y'all. I got a little morning meditation on there. Again, I'm trying some new things to just really help me to be more positive. And I feel like you can only go up from here when you bring all of these different positive lights into your life. And so I'm trying this out, and I love that it's just so organized. I know you guys can appreciate that. All my planners out there, you can appreciate the organization of it because it just kind of pops up in the morning when I get up. There's a link to the meditation. I click on it, I listen to it, do my thing for 10-15 minutes, and then I get up and I do what I need to do for the rest of my time. I have a whole little routine planned out basically from the time I get up around 5 through breakfast. So the first 4 hours of my day are pretty set, which I love because it's just nice to have some stability in the fact of knowing okay, I set out and I intended to do what I needed to do for the morning and I got there. But I say all of that to say that that's my time. That's my morning. Those are the hours that I have to myself. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long Emery sleeps in the morning. And I really value that. And so I really urge you guys to find that time for yourself, even if it's just to get up a half hour early before you get started with your job. If you're working from home now or whatever the case is, if you're starting with your job, your kids, get up a little bit earlier before them, even if it's just to make a cup of tea. Maybe, read a little bit of a book you've been wanting to start. At the end of the night, same thing. Maybe you want to take a bath for yourself or whatever the case. I think that you will be such a better person for it. And I just encourage it in so many ways. I know a lot of people talk about self-care and all of those things. I think it looks so different for all of us. And so I never really just have one specific tip on how to do that, but to do it and to make the time for it. And then what you choose to fill that time with is completely up to you because we're all different. Not everybody wants to soak in a bath. Not everybody wants to have quiet, even though I do have to say, sometimes it's just nice to hear your own self breathe and think without all of the distractions and things going around. But not everybody wants that. Some people, their self-care is getting in an intense workout, and that's okay. Whatever you love to do, just fill that time for yourself. Don't think about nobody else, just you. So those are my tips for living a more intentional and positive life. I really hope that you guys got something out of this. Let me know down below, what was your favorite tip? And even better, let me know what is one of the areas in your life that you would love to be working on during this time. I got a little in depth, and I definitely worked on like 5 or 6 areas and really took my time with this, but it really only took me about an hour and a half. I worked on it through like a day, broke it up, and it took me about an hour and a half at the most to get the little calendar invite set up, writing out my lists. And I'm really impressed with this process. It's a little different than anything I've done before. It's not really traditional goal setting, but it's more so just intention setting. It's just like, I'm sick of writing this stuff down and saying I'm going to do it. Let me set myself up for the best possible result by actually putting the stuff in my face, making it a reality. And that's just kind of how I did it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.